Hello everyone, welcome to another Narc Survivor live video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what narcissists are like at the end of a relationship. Because the ending of the relationship, a breakup with a narcissist, it is not like a normal breakup. It's nothing like a normal relationship. And before the ending, in the middle of the relationship, you may have your doubts as to whether or not you were actually dealing with a narcissist. But towards the end, it tends to become more and more clear as their mask begins to slip and you begin to see who the real person is underneath that mask. Because they can become aggressive and violent. They can do things that you may never have seen before. Things that you never thought they would do. They turn against you. They may smear your name, ruin your reputation, get you fired from your job, and try to sabotage any progress that you try to make and just leave you stuck because they want to leave you in the same condition as when they've left you. And then at the same time, they blame you for everything as well. Because the last thing they want is to see you being good for someone else after they are gone. That is a narcissist's worst nightmare. Because remember, they've created this false narrative. They're gaslighting themselves, they're in denial about you. Telling themselves that you're such a bad person and you were the cause of everything. So now, of course, they need reality to match up with this idea that they have of you in their minds. Because otherwise they can tell themselves that you were the problem as much as they want. But if reality doesn't reflect that, then it's very difficult for them to remain in denial. And it's really just a very different way of looking at things compared to how we do. Because typically, after a normal breakup, you part ways, you separate, and then you wish the best for the other person. You don't want them to be stuck, heartbroken for the rest of their lives. You want them to move on. You want things to get better for them. And many of us, even when we've dealt with a narcissist, and they've done all of these things to us, and they wish the worst for us. They want us to remain in that state for the rest of our lives and never move on. And to where things never get better for us. But even while they wish that on us, we still wish the best for them. We still wish that they would heal and move on. But they don't have that same mindset towards you. They do not want you to heal. They do not want you to get better. They do not want you to move on. That is the last thing that a narcissist wants for their victim. They want you to remain in that state for the rest of your life, where things never get better for you. And if at any point things do get slightly better, they notice any changes, any improvements, it will trigger them. It will make them very angry, and then they will come back to try to sabotage that, because they do not want to see you moving on. They do not want to see things getting better for you. After they've already told themselves the story about you, they've blamed you for everything. They said it was all your fault. They told everyone about it. So how is it going to look if you part ways and then things get better for you and then they're still the same? That just completely crushes their false narrative. It crushes all of the lies that they said about you, because anyone who has a basic understanding of psychology understands that if a person is not well, if a person has a personality disorder or a mental illness, that does not produce long-term success. It just doesn't happen. So how is it that you can part ways and then things get better for you without them? And especially without them, because that was the whole point, is that they're meant to be the best thing since sliced bread. And if you ever had an opportunity to heal, to progress, and to succeed, then it would have been with them. Because they're that great. They're supposed to make things better for everyone. So it really doesn't make any sense if you break up, you part ways, and only then do things get better for you. That suggests that they were keeping you down the entire time. And it may even suggest that what they were doing was deliberate, because then they also blamed you and told everyone about it at the end. So it really doesn't look good for them if you move on and things get better for you. You heal, and yet they're still stuck, they're still angry, they're still miserable, while you're moving on and you're happy. That really doesn't look good on them. And that's why they are the way that they are at the end of a relationship. That's why they behave in that way. That's why they get so angry. That's why they just want to crush you before you leave. And even if you manage to get away, then they'll really just pull out all the stops to try and prevent you from moving on. For that reason, because of this false narrative that they've created, and it's a real problem. It causes them so much stress, because of course, once they've made up all of these lies, it's like one lie turns into 100 lies, and they have this false narrative. And of course, because it's false, they have to work overtime and orchestrate certain things in order to support this false narrative. Because remember, it's false, it's not going to support itself. They have to get people to support it. They have to get people to agree and to align with them. And they have to orchestrate situations, they have to sabotage you. They have to do all of these things to make you look bad and to prevent you from just being your natural self, to where you would naturally succeed. They have to prevent all of that in order to sustain this false narrative about you. And this is why they are the way that they are towards the end of the relationship. This is why they're that way. Because you got to think about it like this. If they really believed that you were such a bad person and that you caused all of these things to go wrong, if they really believed that you were no good, you were crazy, then why would they hold on to you? Why would they try to sabotage you? Why would they need to tell anyone? Because surely it would just be a matter of time until your actions just reveal all of that anyway. So why would they need to intervene? Why would they need to do anything to sabotage you? Why would they need to tell anyone about it? I mean, really just think about that for a moment, because it doesn't add up. It doesn't make any logical sense. Like the old saying goes, if you give someone enough rope, they will hang themselves. So if you're so bad, if you're so crazy, if you cause so many things to go wrong, then all they have to do is give you enough rope, and then you'll hang yourself. Then you'll cause more of these problems that you were meant to have caused. Then you're going to do whatever it was that you did wrong, you're going to do that again. Or you're going to reveal or expose yourself to other people. So why do they need to intervene? Why do they need to sabotage you? Why do they need to spread these lies and rumors? I mean, that's just it. Because they are lies and rumors, because what they're saying about you is not the truth. And if they didn't intervene, if they just let things play out naturally, they already know exactly what would happen. And that's that you would move on. You would be very happy and successful. You'd probably meet someone else, get married, have children, and you'd have this incredible future ahead of you, while they're still stuck, miserable, and watching your life, watching how you're so much happier than them. And of course, that's the last thing they want. As I said, they do not want you to heal. They do not want things to get better for you. That's why they do what they do. That's why they're so angry, especially towards the end of the relationship. That's why they intervene. That's why they sabotage you. That's why they try to get you fired from your job. They target you financially. They turn everyone against you. That's why they do that. Because otherwise they know things will be very different for you. They quite literally have to construct this false reality. Because that's the only way that they can sustain their false self. But it's all built on a lie. Their entire life is fake, because they're not incorporating or taking into consideration the effects of their actions and behaviors on you and how it has affected you. And instead, they're not taking accountability, and they're just blaming you for everything, as they've blamed other people before. And this is how they have to work overtime in order to sustain this false narrative that they have constructed in order to protect themselves, their false image. And it causes them to be very paranoid and hypervigilant, to where they want to beat you to the punch. They want to get you before you get them. Because they assume that you will get them, that you will expose them, that you will cause problems for them. And yet, many of us, we don't even seek to do that, because a true victim is someone whose life has really been affected. They typically don't enjoy the drama, the chaos, the court battles. They don't want to get involved in any of that. So instead, what typically happens with real victims is that they just want to cut their losses. They just want to be left alone in peace. They don't want to go back into it. The last thing a real victim is going to be thinking about is what their abuser is doing, where they are now, if they've got a good job, a business, if they're making lots of money, if they've got a new relationship partner, if they've got lots of friends. A real victim is not going to care. They're not going to be thinking about any of that. As long as they're left alone, that's all a real victim is going to care about. And if anything, I know with myself, even after all of the things that people have done to me, how I've been treated by narcissists in the past, especially in relationships and in my family, I would not want to hear anything bad about them. I would not find any satisfaction in knowing that a narcissist from my past has lost their job, lost all their money, lost all of their friends. What I would be satisfied about is if I found that somehow they managed to heal and now they're no longer harming people. But what these narcissists do with you, it's like they're provoking you. It's like they want you to harm people. They want you to react negatively. That's what they want. So you can see that we have very different mindsets to these narcissists. They wish the worst for you. But even after all of the abuse, all of the things they've done to you, you may still wish nothing but the best for them. You may still wish that they do heal and things get better for them. And I know myself, when I look at my exes who I believe were narcissists after how they treated me, I would be so happy for them if I learned that somehow they changed and they moved on and they were living a good life and not harming anyone. I would be very satisfied with that. But actually, from what I do know about my exes who were narcissists, things did not turn out well for them after they left me. In fact, things got really bad for them. And I didn't feel good about it at all. Even after all of the things that they did to me, I mean, as I spoke about in my older videos, there was one ex who I believed, I believe she definitely has high narcissistic traits, because she tried to nudge me to suicide, where I tried to take my own life. And even after that, she said it was just attention seeking. And despite that, not long after, maybe a couple of years later, I saw that she was working in my local supermarket, when before that, she was working to be a nurse. And honestly, when I saw that she was working in the supermarket, I actually felt really bad. It just didn't sit right with me at all. I wasn't happy about it. It didn't bring me any satisfaction. If anything, I just wanted to help her. And typically that is a very normal response for true victims. Because what made us a victim is that we trusted them, we believed in them, and we were very kind, very generous, very helpful to them. These narcissists are fake victims. They were never helpful to us. They caused a lot of harm, a lot of problems. And that's how their mindset is very different. Because of course, someone who has already deliberately caused so much harm, so many problems for you, you really think that they're going to be feeling bad afterwards if they weren't feeling bad at the time? And you really think that they're going to be happy to see you moving on when all of that time in the relationship they were bringing you down, they were abusing you? Why would they suddenly change after the relationship? Why would they suddenly want the best for you and want you to move on? Doesn't make any sense. Well, as for us, in the relationship, we were trying to make things better. We were constantly pulling our personalities inside out in order to please them. Now that's how typically after the relationship, that doesn't change. Or hopefully, we just choose to distance ourselves and we wish the best for them. But we hope that we can just be left in peace. So there's very different mindsets there between a victim and a narcissist. But somehow many people fall for it. Maybe because they don't really understand what went on in the relationship. Maybe they just don't really care and they're just looking for someone to villainize so that they can feel better about themselves. We may not like to accept it, but unfortunately, a lot of times that is the case. Because just like the narcissist, they view you as an easy target, as someone who they can exploit and still get away with it. So they see the narcissist abusing you and then they just want to jump on the bandwagon. But at the end of a relationship with a narcissist, things do get a lot worse. They ramp up the abuse because they can see that you're waking up. You're starting to figure them out. And they're not going to let you go without a fight. Because they already know they've been keeping you down the entire time. They've been abusing you. They've been causing all of these problems for you. And of course, if you get away, if you escape the plantation, then what's going to happen is that things are going to get a lot better for you because they already know that it is them and not you. Of course, they know that. That's why they hold on to you. That's why they don't want to let you get away. I mean, if they really thought that where they're at and what they have is this abode of peace, tranquility, and safety, where healing, growth, development can take place, and it's like the sanctuary where things can get better for you, and you're protected there. If they really thought that, and then naturally they would assume that by you going off, by you leaving, then things are going to get worse for you, and you're going to go down, and you're not going to be happy. Then why wouldn't they just let you go? Of course, that's what they would do. If they really believed that things were worse out there for you, then they wouldn't even hold on to you. And especially once you're gone, they wouldn't intervene. They wouldn't try to come back again. They come back because they know that you're happy. They know that you're moving on. They know that things are so much better for you without them. They already know that they're the cause of the problem. They already know that they're the ones who are to blame. And they know that their presence is very toxic and very harmful to you. That's why they're always there. I mean, think about it. You really think they would still be there? They would be coming around you and latching on to you if they really believed that they were good for you. If a narcissist believes that they're good for you, you won't ever even see them. You won't ever hear from them. They'll just be gone. And that's how, typically in these situations where it's like, if a narcissist divorces you and they take your house, your car, your children, they take it all away from you, you won't hear from them for a very long time. At least until all of the money is gone. Because as far as they're concerned, they're taken care of. But then in some situations, you may hear from them sooner than you think, because no matter what a narcissist has, they can never be happy. And they're deriving a sense of identity and their own happiness, or not happiness, but this relief from their pain and their shame. They're deriving all of that by comparing themselves to you, your situation, your condition, and your emotional state. So that's how, even if in a divorce, the narcissist got your house, your car, your children, that doesn't always determine that they would just leave you alone. That doesn't mean that they won't still be checking in on you. And many of you may have experienced that already, where it's like, maybe the narcissist that you were with, they've got all of this money, they've got a nice big house, they've got lots of cars, and yet they're still spying on you. They're still jealous of you. They still don't want to see you having anything. It's like, even if you're just breathing the air, they're jealous of that. Almost like any type of experience that you have in life. Even just simple things where it's like, you could be taking care of yourself. You might be looking in the mirror, you're brushing your hair, and you get that narcissistic stare, and it's just really winding them up, because you're having these experiences in life and they're just unable to experience that. They constantly have this fear of missing out. They always feel like they're missing out on something, as though things are so much better with you. And again, that's why they have to intervene. That's why the breakup is always so bad with a narcissist. And it's why they always try to come back. They always try to turn everyone against you. This is why, because they know that with their disorder, things aren't going to work out too well for them. And even if they do become successful, I mean, it won't be in relationships, but maybe in a job, they might become successful in that. And even if they earn lots of money and they have material things, they know that they're not going to be satisfied with that. They know that they're still going to want more. And yet you could just move on and things could get a little bit better for you. And you will be so much happier than them. because they're never going to find happiness. They're always going to be miserable. So of course, with this in their minds, with them knowing that as long as you're apart, things are always going to be better for you. You're going to be happy and they're not going to be. That's why they attach, they cling, they latch on to you. They hold on for that reason. It's kind of like they're grabbing onto your legs and while they're hanging off a cliff. That's pretty much what it's like. They know that as long as they hold on to you, things are going to be better for them. But if they let go, then things are going to be a lot worse for them and a lot better for you. So that's why they're the ones holding on to you. But then they also want to turn it around as well and make you believe that they have something that you want, and they use the lies and future faking to keep you dependent on them, because otherwise it's a lot of trouble for them and it doesn't feel so good if they're the ones who are always chasing after you and they're dependent on you and they quite clearly need you far more than you need them. They don't like that feeling, and that's how they typically do things. They're trying to cause problems, traumas, where it leaves you seeking answers or a resolution to where you're then having to chase them up. And you may even feel like you're stalking them on social media or whatever it may be, because maybe they damaged your property or they stole money from you. I know you're having to chase that up, and they like that. They like that feeling of you needing them. Gives them validation, and especially since normally it's them who needs you. I mean, you are their source of supply. And this is how they get so crazy, because they need that supply. They can't live without it. They can't survive without air, and their supply is their air. But of course they understand, and it makes perfect sense, because if you're supplying them and you're sustaining them, you're helping to sustain someone who has a void that can never be filled. Someone who can never be satisfied, and yet you're keeping them going. If you're able to do that, then if you take that same energy and you take those same resources for yourself somewhere else, then of course that's going to lead to success. Because unlike them, you do not have this void that can never be filled. So if you could sustain a narcissist for all of that time, just imagine what you could do for yourself, or what you could do with someone who's not a narcissist. And of course they know that, they understand that, they realize that yes, they do have a problem. Because otherwise, think about it like this: if they really thought that there was nothing wrong with them, and they thought that their demands on you were realistic and nothing out of the ordinary, and as though it's you who is insufficient, inadequate to please them and to meet their demands, if they really believe that, then they would naturally assume that, okay, if you do leave, if you do move on, then you're going to struggle. You're not going to do well without them. And then they would just let you move on and they would forget about you. But they don't do that, because they do understand that, yes, they do have these unrealistic demands. They recognize that they have a problem, that they can't be satisfied. And that's how it's so painful. That's how they're so paranoid when you do begin to move on. Because it's like, hold on. All of this that you are, everything that you are, everything that you have, all of this value, you're going to move on and take that with you, and you're going to do so much better without them. They already know that. Because while you're with them, they're constantly draining you of your energy and resources. And they understand that they are a leech, a parasite. And no matter what you do, what you give, what you provide to them, it's never going to be enough. They're never going to be satisfied. They're never going to be happy. And yet, a normal person who can generate their own power and energy from within, it's not going to take much for you to succeed and to thrive. Yes, they know that. They've recognized that. That's why they're so paranoid. That's why they fear you moving on. And that's why they get so bad towards the end of the relationship, because it's like they just really want to finish you off. They want to finish you off once and for all, because they know that even if you've got enough strength to crawl on your hands and knees, that's going to be enough for you to move on and for you to succeed. And that's how they, towards the end of the relationship, they really want to give you the final blow. And that's why they go all out. That's why they pull out all the stops, to where they're trying to get you fired from your job, they're targeting you financially, discrediting you, ruining your reputation, turning people against you, starting smear campaigns, and destroying your support network, isolating you. That's why they do all of these things, because they really just want to give that final blow. They really just want to finish you off once and for all. Because they know that while you may be exhausting yourself on this hamster wheel and you're left on your hands and knees trying to please and satisfy them, they know that it's not going to take much for you to heal and recover yourself. Because you can heal, you can get better, you can move on. It's not going to be that way for them. It's not just that you can't do it for them, they can't do it for themselves. And that's how they were weighing you down. That's how it was so dark, so dense. Otherwise, it would have been very light. But instead, you felt a lot of pressure. You felt like they were weighing you down for that reason. Because they needed you that much. Now I'm looking through the live chat. Let's see what people are saying. Linda Lonsbury says, we have so much empathy. Our resources never run out. I wish I could agree with that, Linda. But unfortunately, statistics do show that since the 1970s, empathy has been on the decline. And now in this day and age, only 1 to 2% of the world's population are empaths. So that does reveal that empaths are actually a dying breed. And now we have more narcissists than anything else. Where it's like 1 in 6 people are narcissists, and up to 1 in 10 people are psychopaths. So that means that psychopaths really aren't even that rare anymore. There was a time when they used to be. It reveals that empaths are getting burned out. Or there's no incentive for anyone to be an empath, if that is even a choice in a person's childhood, or if it's taught to them by their parents. So, while I do like the positivity there, Linda, I do advise that we do conserve our energy. Don't just give it away to these narcissists, because they will use it up, they will drain you, they will seek to destroy you, as they've been doing for a very long time. And as it is, that empaths are now very rare in the world today. Jim Dittman says, if I filled my cup first every time, I'd have a different life, but I was blind. Or they would gladly let me starve and enjoy that you suffer for them. True words, Jim. But that's something to think about if you really want to just raise your confidence in yourself. Just think about everything you did, everything you gave, provided to people. Imagine if instead of filling all of their cups, if you just filled your own cup and you had one big cup. Imagine what you could have created. And imagine what you could have then provided to the world. It's a sad truth, but these types of people, they really do limit your potential and what you could be for everyone else. Under the law of Murphy, it says empaths are strong by nature. We have to be. You know, I do wonder sometimes, with all of these narcissists that have clearly existed since the beginning of time, and yet with all of the manipulation and exploitation, all of the destruction that these narcissists cause, how on earth is even 1 to 2% of the world's population today empaths? How is that even possible? How is it that we're not all extinct? And I guess the only logical explanation is that there must have been, as we call them, these super empaths. And they must have led and protected the empaths in order for us to make it this far. I mean, that does seem to be the only possible explanation. But that's not to say that a regular empath is weak. I mean, the whole thing about narcissists, the reason why they're so narcissistic, and some of them even psychopathic, what it all comes down to is a lack of internal strength. So they're then seeking that strength on the outside from other people. And not only that, but they're going about it the wrong way. Because if you feel weak, if you feel like you're lacking the internal strength, the right thing to do is to speak to a friend that you trust or a therapist. But these narcissists is like, because there's so much shame, they don't even want to accept that lack of internal strength. So instead, what they do is they attack you. They deflect their shame onto you. They blame you. They coerce you. They intimidate you. Or the psychopaths, they like to make you feel fear. And that's all due to a lack of internal strength. Because if you had the internal strength, you wouldn't need to do that. So empaths, they are strong. That ability to love and be vulnerable, that is a strength. That takes a lot of strength in a world where a lot of people will manipulate and exploit you. So we must make sure that we do love the right people as well. Because yes, a lot of people out there, they will see your love as a weakness and they will take advantage of that. I know we've hit 45 minutes. That's when a lot of the trolls like to come in. I think that's because in my YouTube analytics, it has shown that once my video gets about 45 minutes, especially close to 1 hour, then it seems to kick up the algorithm, and then the videos get a lot more views and sometimes more ad revenue, which is very, very good for us. But it does seem to trigger a lot of trolls to come in around this time as well. So I do apologize for that. But no matter what, I am always in support of the victims. I'm always there for you. Always there to give you the information that you need. Because I genuinely want to see things get better for you. I genuinely do. And yeah, unfortunately, it's a very rare quality in the world today. There's a lot of people out there who do mask this kind of like this communal narcissism. They act like they want the best for people, but actually they're just all about themselves, or they don't really care about anyone else. And clearly what they're doing is they're deflecting their shame. Because any time that I even remotely think that I'm doing something just for myself and I'm being selfish, I automatically feel shame. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. And I was even trained in my childhood, just any time, even just thinking anything about myself, like even just looking in the mirror, wearing new clothes, just simple things like that. I used to feel so much shame. I would feel so bad for doing that. Like I'm doing something wrong by acknowledging myself and taking care of myself. I was trained to think that that is bad. So of course I had to rewire myself and see it as a good thing, because not only that, but by taking care of ourselves and making sure that our cup is full, we then have more to pour into someone else. So That's how I see it now. And that's what helps me to not stay stuck in the shame like I used to. Because I used to feel really bad just for focusing on myself and taking care of myself. But that's definitely something that we should do. As Ross Rosenberg has said, self-love is our greatest defense against these narcissists. As soon as you start thinking for yourself, you start taking care of yourself, narcissists do not like it, they hate it. Anything of you to do with you, it really sets them off because it defends you against them. Remember, they want to destroy you. So when you're loving you, when you're healing, then that creates a barrier, it protects you from them. And that's why they don't like that. But that's definitely what I prescribe. I most definitely do recommend that you do practice self-love. As Ross Rosenberg has said, I recommend that you do become self-love abundant, because that will help to defend you against these narcissists. And it's very different from being narcissistic. Self-love is very important. And remember, this body and our minds that we have, it is a sacred gift from God or higher power, the universe, whatever you believe in. And we should be very thankful. We should be grateful for it. We should love ourselves. Because if we're not loving ourselves, then what are we doing? We're taking ourselves for granted. We're underappreciating ourselves. Loving yourself is good. As long as it's not all about yourself and there is room for someone else, then that's fine. Self-love is good, it's healthy. Got Nala laying down on the bench here. So yeah, we're just relaxing here. I was thinking to do a video on, I think it's the rooftop. There's like a rooftop infinity pool. There's a nice area there. But when I went up earlier, I couldn't get much signal. So that's why I didn't do a video there. But maybe I'll try again. Let's see how it goes. I do enjoy providing nice scenic views in my videos. But that's all I've got to say for this one. What narcissists are like at the end of a relationship. Very different to a normal breakup. It really is. If this video was helpful and informative for you, please give it a thumbs up down below. And hit subscribe. Click all notifications so that you will be notified when I go live in the future. you would like to donate, you can go to my PayPal. It is paypal.me/Narc Survivor. I appreciate all donations, no matter how small. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. And if you'd like to book a one-on-one coaching session with me, just go to my website. It is narcsurvivor.co.uk. Also, follow me on Instagram. You can see all of my content from my trip last year to Sri Lanka. I think I'm approaching nearly 1 million plays from the content I've posted so far, just from my trip to Sri Lanka. And I haven't finished posting it yet. So you can see all of that on my Instagram. It's Narc Survivor YouTube. Thank you all for joining me on another Narc Survivor live video. I appreciate you all, and I look forward to speaking with you in another live video very soon.